So in this video, I am going to cover a question I get asked all the time, which is why do dismissive avoidants struggle so much to say sorry? So we're going to cover the three major reasons as to why this is in this video. And we'll talk about what you can do if you are on the receiving end of this, not just if you are the dismissive avoidant, for example, who may want to work on this. So first and foremost, if you're not already familiar, dismissive avoidant attachment style is one of four major love styles in relationships. And essentially, everybody has an attachment style, and the dismissive avoidant is the one who tends to fear commitment and vulnerability the most. They may be a little bit standoffish, very much in a self protection kind of state. They're great at connecting intellectually, but they may struggle a little bit more with things like emotional connection, especially in a sustained way, as that emotional connection is supposed to deepen and a certain element or ingredient of vulnerability is required over time. So, saying sorry can be a difficult task for a dismissive avoidant in relationships. In fact, I can remember sitting with a husband and wife, and the wife was dismissive avoidant, and this was in my practice years ago, and the husband was AP, anxious, preoccupied, and the wife said, "I feel sorry." She said to me in a meeting one time, in a session one time, she said, "I feel really sorry. And I know that I have to apologize to my husband. And I know it would be the right thing. And I know I would even feel better after. But it's like the moment I think about doing it, I just freeze and the words won't come out. Why is this happening to me?" So I explained to her, as I'll explain to you right now, that essentially dismissive avoidants have this huge fear of vulnerability. And whatever we fear, our subconscious mind, in this very quick way, can go from being scared to going into self protection, which requires either an action or an inaction. Freezing or not doing anything is a form of inaction that leads to self protection. If I just stay still and I don't do anything, then it may feel like I'm protecting myself by not exposing myself to that vulnerability. And guess what? Reason number one, remember we have three, is that actually being vulnerable enough to say sorry can feel really scary to a dismissive avoidant. Actually opening up and saying, "Hey, I apologize," has this essence or this element of vulnerability behind it. And that's like the kryptonite for a dismissive avoidant. They really want to go anywhere but in that direction. So they will often go into this freeze mode or this mode of like really going into self-protection, self-preservation. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, dismissive avoidants tend to have this very deep belief in this idea that like we are not responsible for each other. So if you think of it, growing up, dismissive avoidant attachment styles often didn't really have a lot of ability to rely emotionally on their caregivers. A lot of the time, dismissive avoidants grow up in a household where there's a certain degree of stability and consistency intellectually and with baseline needs being met, like a routine, living in the same house, often not a ton of conflict at home. But there can be this total lack of emotional connection, of emotional bonding. And so this like emotional pillar of connection feels confusing. And then dismissive avoidants assume, because this is the way they essentially get conditioned by their environment, that everybody's out for themselves. Like you're supposed to take care of your emotional needs. I'm supposed to take care of mine. We're supposed to take care of our own lives. And so this idea that we are impacting how one another feels, and it's actually a really important topic because in a relationship, the moment we make this commitment, it's also a commitment to be mindful of each other and how one another feels and how we affect each other. And it doesn't mean that we take sole responsibility where I'm just responsible for your needs and I don't take care of my own, only you do. And then I take care of all of yours and you don't take care of any of your own. That's not how it's supposed to work. But interdependency, that's codependency, right? I just take care of you, you just take care of me. We don't take care of ourselves at all in the relationship. Counterdependency is we just avoid all of that at all costs. It's more the dismissive avoidant version of this. Interdependency, which is what we're looking for, is I recognize that I can't control how you feel and I'm not responsible for your feelings at the end of the day, but I am responsible for being mindful of you, for recognizing that in a really close relationship, my actions and my words do impact you. And I'm going to be kind and considerate and courteous about those things. And you would be the same way, vice versa. So that's interdependency, but dismissive avoidance come from this background or modeling of counterdependency. And so they tend to assume that, no, 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 you're just responsible for your stuff. I'm responsible for mine. If you're hurt by what I said, that's yours to deal with. That doesn't have anything to do with me. And it can be a very confronting and difficult experience to be on the other side of. And remember, at the end of this video, we'll talk about what you can actually do about this. Okay. Um, so this is reason number two. And by the way, if you want to do a much deeper dive into codependency, counterdependency versus interdependency and how to understand it, express it, see like how to find your footing in terms of what limiting beliefs you have that keep you on one side of the continuum, what fears you have that stop you from feeling safe to rely on others or open up, or feel safe to rely on yourself. You can actually do a lot of reconditioning work, and you can check out a course all about codependency for free for 7 days using the link below. So check it out. And the course itself is about 2 hours long. It will give you everything you need to know about how to recondition codependent patterns, about how to communicate in a healthy way, about exactly what you need to move the needle to come into center so that you get into interdependency, and also how to express your needs in a healthy way for interdependency to the loved ones in your life. So powerful course to dig into if you struggle with any of the codependent or counterdependent patterns. Now, reason number three that can be a huge reason fearful avoidants are afraid to apologize, and this comes from countless conversations I've had with fearful avoidants over the years, is that they say things to me like, Thais, if I apologize, then the person's going to expect me to never make the mistake again and to be perfect. And dismissive avoidants have these fears and core wounds around being pressured or trapped or helpless or powerless. And they really get triggered by people having expectations of that. And it's so funny because dismissive avoidants have so many of their behavioral patterns determined by trying to avoid people having expectations of them in their life. And so this is a big place that shows up is when it comes to actually apologizing and taking accountability for some of how they might affect somebody in a relationship. And so if you are the DA struggling with this and want to come into interdependency, it's so powerful to recognize that, saying sorry doesn't mean you have to be perfect. Saying sorry doesn't mean that you're suddenly responsible. You signed off and you're responsible for somebody's feelings in totality all the time, and you can't make any mistakes. Saying sorry doesn't mean that you're weak or that you're wrong. Saying sorry is an acknowledgement of the fact that we can impact somebody else and vice versa. And you can also say to somebody, hey, I'm sorry if what I said or did hurt you, and I can understand why you're feeling that way. And also, for me, I can work on this a little bit in the future for sure, but I also may not be perfect. So can we try to talk about it in a healthy way, right? Like there's an easy way of discussing while managing people's expectations. And it actually takes a lot of strength and courage to apologize and to be accountable for whatever you might be doing to affect somebody else. You can also, if you're afraid of the boundary part as a dismissive avoidance, say, hey, I'm really sorry for how I hurt you. And I also need you to see that I have boundaries here. And I need you to be mindful and respectful of me in that way as well. And it's interesting because if you pay close attention as a dismissive avoidant, when you're asking somebody to respect your boundaries, you're also asking them to respect how they make you feel indirectly, right? So it really is this back and forth where DAs carry those expectations of others, but just in a different way, in a hidden form. And so having those conversations and dialogue can be very valuable. Now, if you're on the receiving end of this, repeating those things to a dismissive avoidant can be very valuable too, letting them know, hey, it's strong to apologize. It doesn't make you all wrong and I'm all right. It's not about that. I want you to see and hear and understand that sometimes the way you act can have an impact on how I feel and vice versa. And you can even give examples of when you accidentally might violate a boundary or forget about the dismissive avoidance need for freedom or space at times, or infringe on it by accident. That when they don't like that and they're trying to stop that from happening, it's also because you are impacting how they feel as well. So there really is this two-way thing happening at all times. It's just that sometimes DAs don't realize it because it's happening to them in a different form than it may be happening more overtly and directly to somebody else they're in a relationship with. So recognizing these things, having open dialogue about these things is so valuable and so important. And also, If you need an apology, asking for an apology from a DA and then saying, I don't expect you to be perfect. I'm just asking you to acknowledge how I'm feeling and to be mindful in the future and to do your best. And this tends to be more open ended. It feels less confronting and stressful for the DA. So these tend to be the places that we move the needle from. And if you want to do a much deeper dive, just in terms of so much more than I can fit into a short video, please check out that course. It's free for 7 days. It's more than enough time to get through that course within that 7 day period. And it's all about codependency, counterdependency, what healthy interdependency looks like, how to get there, how to recondition fears that we have that stop us from getting there. It includes healthy communication scripts and patterns, how to recognize your needs and how to communicate them, all that really powerful stuff to help our relationships thrive. So, I have some exciting news, which is that we are doing $1,000 off of our lifetime membership sale to the Personal Development School, which means you get access to literally everything at PDS for your entire rest of your life. Essentially, that entails all of our different courses you have lifetime access to. I do 4 live webinars a week, every single week. You can access them ongoing, and you get access to all of our daily community events. So I'd love to see you on the other side, and you can access it by using the link in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are enjoying this and all the content, I put daily content out on this YouTube channel literally every single day for you if you're interested. And it's free every day. And if you don't want to miss any, it's all about the subconscious mind, integrated attachment theory, healing, relationships, how to really thrive using reconditioning patterns in any area of your life, helping you understand your needs, your boundaries, how to apply them. And you can check it out and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any day that I put some out. And if you end up doing that, then I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.